Lust isn't hunger for another body. It's your soul calling you back to yourself.
It happens in those quiet hours when the world has gone still, your phone glowing in your hand, your thoughts unsettled, your heart strangely numb. You tell yourself it's just desire, just biology, a harmless craving that everyone gives into. You think one more scroll, one more fantasy, one more image. But if you dared to be truly honest with yourself, you'd notice it. An emptiness not only afterward, but even while you're chasing the moment. You call it passion, but deep down you know it isn't. It's a hunger for something far beneath the surface, a grief that has no clear name. Long before today's psychology, Carl Jung spoke about this. He said people will do almost anything, no matter how irrational, to avoid facing their own inner life. And that's what lust often is. Not about genuine joy or connection, but about numbing the boredom, covering the ache, drowning out the loneliness and the deafening silence inside your own chest. You tell yourself you want her, but what you really want is to feel alive, to feel seen, to feel held. Still, instead of looking inward, you keep reaching outward for the image, for the body, for the dopamine hit that fades faster than it arrives. And when it's gone, you're left where you started, with the same void, the same silence, the same untouched self. Lust is not the true enemy. It's a signal, a symptom, your soul tugging at your sleeve, demanding to be noticed. Underneath the craving is disconnection. Disconnection from your own body, from your purpose, from your emotions, from yourself. So you grab the easiest substitute. The illusion of closeness, the illusion of being wanted, the illusion of control. Jung called this the shadow at work. The neglected part of you, the piece that was never loved in the way it needed, goes searching in unhealthy ways. And it's not only about sex. It shows up in compulsive texting, endless late-night scrolling, shallow conversations that feel like intimacy but aren't, and mental replays of moments when someone once made you feel wanted. What you're truly running from isn't a lack of bodies, it's the loneliness that sits under your skin. To feel it would mean admitting you don't just crave release. You crave rescue from isolation, from the numbness of needs that were never met. Jung saw this in his patients. They didn't come to him with lust problems, but with spiritual hunger wearing the mask of lust. He didn't scold or moralize. He asked deeper questions. The real question is not why do I feel lust, but what is this lust distracting me from? Because if you never face that, you'll keep feeding the craving, but never healing the wound. You'll keep chasing fantasies, but never feeling seen. You'll keep finishing, but never feel whole. Here's the truth no one tells you. What you need isn't more stimulation. It's more presence. You don't need another body. You need to return to your own. Because the part of you that keeps reaching outward is the part that was abandoned inward. And that's what Jung's Red Book was about. Not sex or power, but integration. The reunion of all your lost fragments. The courage to turn toward your own emptiness instead of fleeing it. So before you open another app, send another message, or follow another craving, stop and ask, is this lust, or is it loneliness disguised? For Jung, lust was never simply a physical impulse. He saw it as a spiritual message, a signal that the soul has been starved. When you avoid the inner world, desire springs from fragmentation, not wholeness. You don't lust because you're broken. You lust because you're divided. He wrote that even the scraps of our thoughts and dreams are the voice of the soul. So when lust flares suddenly and irrationally, it's not about the person in your mind, it's about the part of yourself you've lost touch with. In Jungian thought, men carry an inner feminine, anima. When it's unconscious, you struggle to feel, to surrender, to love without clinging. So your psyche projects. You place your buried tenderness, your vulnerability, your warmth onto her. Not because she embodies all of that, but because she reminds you of what you've forgotten within yourself. So when you lust for her body, her presence, her softness, what you're truly aching for is reunion with your lost soul. That's why it hurts. Because no matter how much you chase, you never reach it. You're chasing yourself in someone else's skin. And the more disconnected you are, the more desperate and hollow the craving becomes. You scroll endlessly, fantasize about strangers, replay old images that sparked a feeling, any feeling. Yet every ending leaves you emptier. Jung said the shadow seduces us not with evil, but with illusion. You think you're seeing a person, but you're really seeing unmet needs, suppressed pain, forgotten tenderness. And because you haven't embraced those parts inside, you try to seize them outside. But lust without love always collapses. No one can bear the weight of your unlived emotions. Nobody can complete your fractured identity. No climax can heal a soul that has been ignored. So what happens? You need more novelty, more intensity, more stimulation. Not because it satisfies you, but because your soul is starving. You run faster in a maze that circles back to emptiness. Jung believed the only way out is to stop asking, who excites me? And start asking, what part of me have I shut down? Because when you reconnect to your feelings, your dreams, your intuition, lust transforms. It becomes creative, sacred, a bridge instead of a trap. That fire you keep mistaking for shame is not there to punish you. It's your soul demanding attention. What you want isn't just a body to touch, but a witness to your being. You want not only release, but relief from the ache of being unseen, untouched, even by yourself. And Jung's hardest truth is this: until you face your soul, your desire will always mislead you. You'll keep chasing shadows and calling it love. You'll keep falling into arms that don't feel like home, because the home you seek is the one you abandoned long ago. So when the wave of lust rises, pause. Don't suppress it. Don't blindly obey it. Ask it, what are you showing me about myself? Because when you can feel its energy without drowning in it, you don't go cold. You become clear, and in clarity you can choose something deeper. Not escape, not performance, not fantasy, but presence. And from presence flows the kind of connection lust could never provide. The danger is subtle. At first it feels harmless, a release, a passing need. But slowly it reshapes you. You feel your emotions less. You start confusing attention with love, stimulation with intimacy. That was Jung's fear. Lust cut off from soul doesn't just distort how you see others, it damages how you see yourself. At first it's small. You avoid eye contact, you hide in fantasy, you go numb behind a smile. Then it deepens. You lose motivation, not just sexually, but in life. You stop creating, building, expressing. The same fire that should fuel your purpose gets consumed by escape. And the cost is your soul. Every time you feed a craving unconsciously, you reinforce the loop. Trigger, reaction, relief, guilt, repeat. Eventually, you start to believe this cycle is who you are. But it isn't. You weren't born addicted to bodies. You were born yearning for connection, for warmth, not friction, for love, not performance. And when you didn't receive those, you turned to fantasy, because fantasy never rejects you. But in return, it robs you of the courage to face real love. It teaches you how to escape, not how to endure, not how to grow. Over time, you begin to resent yourself. You call yourself weak, broken, unworthy of real love. But Jung would say you're not broken, you're disconnected. Disconnected from your soul's ability to nurture, to feel, to soften. You have fire but no warmth, desire but no devotion. And without integration, lust slowly turns inward into violence. You betray your own values, make promises you can't keep, fall into the loop again and again. Until your mind scatters, your heart hardens, and your dreams dry up. This is what Jung described as psychic possession. When a complex hijacks your willpower, when you're no longer acting, it's acting through you, and so the cycle repeats. You can't sit with silence, so you scroll. You can't face yourself, so you chase someone else. But what you don't see is that lust doesn't just block love, it blocks you from becoming you. It drains your creative fire, your focus, your depth, and eventually you wonder why you feel nothing anymore. That's the true cost, not punishment, but numbness. And Jung said numbness is worse than pain, because pain can still move you forward. Healing begins with one question. What is this craving trying to teach me about me? Jung never told us to kill the fire, but to understand it. Because lust suppressed becomes addiction, but lust understood becomes transformation. And that path doesn't start by shutting your eyes. It starts by opening them. You're not broken, you're lost. You've been using lust as a map that leads nowhere, when the real map was always your soul. So how do you begin? Stay. Not with her, not with the distraction, but with yourself. Stay in your body. Stay with the ache. Stay through the craving without feeding it. At first, it will feel unbearable. You'll twitch for escape. But if you breathe through it just a little longer than usual, you'll notice something new. Silence. Not empty silence, but sacred silence. And in it, a small voice. I miss you. That's the boy who learned to perform for love. The man who mistook touch for truth. The soul who thought craving was evil when it was only unmet. Jung believed the shadow isn't destroyed, but integrated. You bring it back into the light. That means writing again, not to impress, but to feel. Creating, not to be admired, but to release. Sitting in nature, allowing yourself to cry. Asking daily, what do I truly need right now? Over time, the cravings lose their grip. Not because they vanish, but because you're no longer afraid of them. You learn to welcome the heat, to thank the desire, to listen to what it's really saying. I want love. I want meaning. I want me. And when you reclaim your inner feminine, your anima, you stop chasing it outside. You embody it. You allow yourself to feel, to soften, to be whole. Then when someone comes along, you don't need to possess them. You don't need to be rescued. You don't need them to fix the abandoned pieces of you, because you've already welcomed those pieces back home. And that's the truth Jung left us with. Lust was never about another body. It was your soul calling you back to yourself.